Hello, 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 and welcome to Q&A freaking Thursday right here at the Rag Company YouTube channel. We have an extra special episode for you today for P&S Brand Week. We have the one and only Dave Phillips here, master chemist of P&S, godfather of Bead Maker, Dream Maker, Pearl Auto Shampoo, Paint Gloss, Express, Carpet Bomber, Break. I've gone on too long.
I don't know if I could do that. Good job.
Sorry.
Hi, Anthony. I'm glad to be here.
It's good to see you. Welcome to the party. And so Dave is here from P&S to help us answer all of your P&S detailing questions, whether it's related to chemicals, the formulas, the application, the usage, storage, you name it. There's all sorts of different things that can be asked around chemicals and chemical formulation and whatnot. But other than that, though, we are going to give you guys, of course, some live action detailing. And so over here in the back, we have Miss Sydni Gwynn. Sydni, hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. I get to wash a car today.
Whose car is it?
Well, I am the owner of this car, but it's my husband's car.
Yeah.
This is his daily driver, and it's a 2020 Challenger Scat pack.
Yep.
It has been here before. It was on a couple TRCMA. It was the very first car to have legend on it. Fun fact. And it did a road trip this week. Actually, the first road trip of its life, it was on this past week. But it's pretty clean though. But I'm going to give it a good wash today.
Sweet. We're excited. So you are going to be knocking out essentially a maintenance wash here in the background, right? But you're going to be utilizing quite a few different P&S chemicals. I mean, you're going down the list, and you picked out some of your favorites, which is pretty cool, and I'm sure we'll be able to highlight some of those. But Sydni is going to be kind of getting things done in the back while Dave and myself answer most of your guys' questions up here. Dane is somewhere off in the ether, as usual. He's going to be kicking out these comments to us, right? You have good questions, you have good comments. He's going to be in complete control of that. We tried to take the iPad away from us, and then he started beating people with it. And he said, "This is my show. You can't take this from me." And we were like, "Dane, just calm down. We're still going to let you be in it." And he goes, "Don't talk to me." And so anyways, long story short, he's in the background. He is going to be dishing out these comments to us. We're still going to have a ton of fun. And Dave, I've been so excited to get you at this table and just talk shop. And so what's been new in the P&S world for you?
Well, there's been a lot of changes at the shop. Of course, a lot of our manufacturing has moved down to Santa Clarita.
Yep.
We're still handling a few stragglers of things.
Yep.
But they've got a massive machine down there that can pump out thousands and thousands of gallons. So that has been good, but it's been a challenge. I mean, but it's going to be great, is what in the long run. But there's some logistics and some things that we need to work on. But their quality is great. The filling is great. They're working very hard at it.
Totally.
We've got hopefully going to get more time to do more R&D now.
Yeah.
I've been able to give up some of my operations job, which has been, really nice. Yeah. So I'll be able to. That's going to be my new main title. Is going to be R&D.
Nice.
So I'm really looking forward to it because, when you're running a full operations job, I mean, I was, wearing a lot of hats. Keeping equipment running. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I was doing, and so, the amount of time I could actually spend on R&D was spread out into increments over time.
Yep.
So this is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
Perfect. So you'll have the lab coat on full time, right? Rather than, at nights and weekends and, all sorts of, when you can get to it.
Dreaming about it and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, totally. So I think it's going to open up the door for a lot more creativity, a lot more cool stuff, which is really, really great. And so outside of that, though, Dave, I mean, have you done anything exciting? Have you gone on any trips lately? Did you go backpacking recently?
We have a backpack trip planned.
Ooh, okay.
And so that was great. My wife and I did a little vacation a few weeks ago, so that was wonderful. But a friend of mine and I are going to do a little section hike on the Pacific Crest Trail going south from I think it's Ebbets Pass to Sonora Pass. So it's about a 70-mile
Yeah.
little jaunt across the Sierras.
Yes.
And,
yes. A little jaunt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We love it. I just, the thing about for me is, we were talking about last night at dinner. It's like, well, camping. I go, well, the thing for me is, it's like I don't want to go to a campground where there are people. I want a lake to myself or a river to myself. That's really the thing that I like the most.
How long does a trip like that take you to do?
It'll take us 6 days.
6 days?
Yeah,
okay.
we do a couple of years ago, we covered about 15 miles a day.
Wow.
And we did 100 miles, and we felt like that was pretty much at our limit.
How much would
for my age?
Yeah, well, I was going to say for your age. I'm like, I can't do that at my age. So I don't know what I mean. So the fact that he's doing this is pretty amazing. What kind of weight are you guys bringing with you when you guys are doing these backpacking?
In 2020, we did the John Muir Trail, and we carried about 35 to 40 pound packs.
Okay.
And that was, and I learned something from that, which is don't carry a 35 to 40 pound pack.
Yeah,
so, a couple of, a little bit more research and that sort of stuff. I got my base weight down to about 15 pounds, and we carry about 10 pounds of food and a couple of pounds of water. And, the Sierras are great because you can stop and get water pretty much the whole way through.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to carry that much water. So I run about 25 to 27 pounds now.
Wow. Okay.
So it's good. Yeah.
Pretty insane. And so, for food, give us an idea. What does that look like when you're out on a trail and you're hiking and you're deep into it? I mean, like, what's your go-to?
So we do a couple of packaged meals usually, a couple of packaged dinners.
Okay.
You can buy just dehydrated or actually freeze-dried food.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a couple of those, and then we kind of take advantage of those bags, and then we bring along a lot of dehydrated stuff. So I have a dehydrator.
Oh, cool.
A lot of times I'll make like a ramen thing or something, or like a peanut noodle thing or something like that, and then I'll dehydrate it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of scrunch it up a little bit, and you put it in water, and you soak it in hot water, and then you've got a whole new meal again.
Sweet.
So we
okay,
we do like protein drinks in the morning and some energy bars and that sort of stuff. We do a lot of like tuna and tortillas for lunch.
Okay, yeah.
A variety of things.
Easy to pack things that are
Easy to
nutrient
pack.
dense, and go from there.
And we bring a little stove.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, stove to heat water up.
Well, my problem, Dave, is that I'm just a very hungry guy in general, and so I feel like what's going to happen is I'm going to go out on a hike like this, commit to it. I'm going to run out of snacks on day 2 out of 6, right?
There is trail mix, and jerky. I made my own beef jerky.
Okay, I love jerky. Yeah,
because it's expensive stuff.
It is
very little anymore.
Yeah, very expensive.
So there are snacks. I know one of my favorite stories was when we were resupplying one time on the John Muir Trail. Everybody kind of resupplies in the same places. So there's a thing called a hiker box sitting on the ground usually, where people have either offloaded stuff that they didn't use from the last section or left stuff that they didn't want to carry, and it's usually full of candy.
I love that.
It is full of candy. So we're hiking along. We got like sweet tarts and like gummy bears, and we're going like, why didn't we bring more? We're just like stuffing.
Oh yeah, totally.
It was fun.
That's hilarious. So, all right. So we're going to kick this off over into some actual detailing questions here. And I do want to start off by saying that Brand Week is currently going on right now at theradcompany.com. So head over to trc.com, theradcompany.com. Check out the P&S Select Kits. So what we did was we curated some kits that are ready to use for all of your detailing needs, whether it's interior, exterior, and you even have a rinseless wash kit in there, which is super cool. And what's nice is that each one of these kits is going to come with a free gift. Now, the free gift is pretty freaking sweet. You are going to get a limited edition batch of our, we'll call them our Fat Joe wipes, right? They're essentially express wipes, but we're calling them Fat Joe wipes, which are going to be cockpit scented, which is going to be the eucalyptus mint tea, right?
Yeah, because the eucalyptus mint sounds like it's going to be minty, but it actually has a very floral,
very sweet and very nice,
really
nice
People,
fragrance.
I think like it a lot.
So you're not only going to get the eucalyptus mint tea wipes, which are really cool, but you're also going to get a little Fat Joe, a baby Fat Joe, if you will, and you're also going to get I believe it's a sticker, which is really cool, and so we have the gift kit. You cannot purchase it separately. I don't believe you can. So this is one of those things where you have to get it with the kit. That's the only way to get it. But check out the rest of the P&S lineup. I mean, there's so many awesome products here within P&S. Everything from the off-road lineup. Actually, there it is. Click it. The swag bag. Click it. You can't. Oh, you can buy it separately. That's not good. I'm just kidding. So if you want to buy it separately, you can. You can do it that way. But it's $45, right? So you'd much rather probably buy the actual one of the kits, one of the actual ready-to-use wash kits, so you get this for free. So Fat Joe hot sauce, Fat Joe sticker, Baby Fat Joe, and the Fat Joe interior wipes.
While supplies last.
While supplies last. And if I remember correctly, we are down to, I think, a quarter of these kits left. I mean, I expect that we probably will sell out today, you know, realistically. So get them while you can, right? They're still available, so pick up a kit. Do it right now on the Q&A so you don't forget. So that's pretty much it. I mean, we're really excited. We've had a lot of great content come out this week and a lot more to come. But we have Ricardo B starting off with, actually Quality Touch starting off with, I have a white truck and I maintain, but I haven't washed in a couple weeks. Can I use active foam dry then follow up with GSF? You totally can. That's a possibility. And then next up here, we've got...
it's nice with the white trucks. I mean, they kind of get a film on them sometimes, right?
They totally.
And it's nice to use a nice, strong surface cleaner.
Yep, agreed. First from Puerto Rico, saying hello to the TRC team. What's going on, Berto? And then, let's see. Aaron Layton says, hey, all. I have a boat under a covered slip and on a lift. Under a covered slip and on a lift. Is there a soap I can use for the exterior that is fish safe so I don't have to trailer it to wash it?
Right. No.
Okay, the answer is no.
There is not. Clean Water Act is very specific. Basically, the only thing that can go in the water is water. Okay. No matter, I mean, because so for the Babes product, we make a product called Boat Bubbles.
Yep.
And it is 100%, safer ingredients material. It's not. There are some approved for a direct contact approved products in it, but it is 100% safer ingredients. But you are not allowed to put that in either a storm drain or a lake or an area where it's obviously going to go straight into the water.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, surfactants. You got to think about fish and the gills and how sensitive those are to the surface tension of the water.
Yep.
And quite frankly, if you put soap in the water, they can't handle it.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know.
Doesn't matter if it biodegrades instantly or not.
Good to know. Okay. All right. So next up here, we've got Murder says, let's watch the witch doctor doing concoction on his cauldron. Yeah, well, if we had his cauldron here, that would be probably quite nice, but I think it's a very large cauldron, Humberto. Next up, Dane, we've got hello everyone from Tamara Chase. Hello, Tamara. Thanks for joining us. Happy to see you here. Go, and then AT4. What the heck? Holy smokes, we have to clap? Yes.
Okay.
Sydney, clap. It's clapping time. Yes, everybody's clapping. So
can I interrupt for 1 second? Can you guys, I just have to give a shout out to Stout. Can you guys see this very good? Mm-hmm. Like, you got to see this party that happens on a dirty car just with the rinse. Like, that's just insane. I haven't even put any soap on it yet.
That is insane, Sydney.
But it's insane.
We have to follow up with AT4. Shout out to the amazing TRC team. A special thanks to Lucas, Aaron, and Tabby. Such a great crew of people. $150 from AT4, a donation, a super chat. That is
awesome.
Freaking incredible, man. Thank you so much. That is going to go to a good cause, which is not going to be buying Dane more tires, but more ideally maybe getting some treats, ice cream, things like that for the whole team here very, very soon. It's getting pretty hot out, and so I think we need to treat ourselves just a little bit. So thank you so much.
Nice.
We appreciate that. Next up here, we have any timeline for P&S products natural finish, essence, new car leather scent, and a hydrofoam sealant-esque product to be available on TRC.
Oh, natural finish essence. We actually do have a concentrate of the leather fragrance now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's if we've run out, but I know that we do have it.
Yep. So natural finish, I think Blue Line's asking if TRC is going to carry natural finish on the TRC website. I know that a lot of people have been advocating for that lately. At this point in time, I don't know. We need to just probably figure out just how to get that going. And then a hydrofoam-esque sealant. So, Dave, do you have any plans to create a style of spray sealant, spray-on, rinse-off sealant?
I will just say that it is catching our interest.
Okay, cool. All right,
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, that means something. Dan Pfeiffer saying, good afternoon and word up from sunny and warm Minnesota, USA. Happy Friday Eve, gang. Really have enjoyed P&S Defender and Reflect that I added it to my arsenal. So a lot of people have really been switching over to using Reflect and Defender as pretty much a monthly treatment, which has been really great.
Cool. Yeah, I love the products. I like them both very much.
Yep, very good. And then, can we hear more about the P&S move to SoCal? What's the reason for the move?
So we were spread out all over the place. Mm-hmm. We had our own manufacturing. We had a lot of third-party manufacturing going in various places, and so and our facility was getting older. Mm-hmm. A lot of both gallon fill lines were basically at end of life.
Yeah.
And so what we looked at this, this is a long process and a long decision of how do we make this, how do we get more efficient? How do we get more product out? How do we get more efficient and get product going, I think I said it 5 times now. But so we decided to go for a really nice rotary filler, which is, we had inline fillers. The inline fillers run at about 8 gallons a minute.
Okay.
The rotary fillers run at about 55 or 60 gallons a minute.
Ooh, you guys are cooking. Yeah.
So it's a lot different, right?
Yeah,
and
it is.
We had a lot of our products being made by a really good company out in the east in Kansas, but the transportation costs and everything were killing us. They did a great job.
And that was kind of like not an overflow, but that was kind of like your mass producers were being filled over there, right? Gotcha. Okay.
Those guys could do 50 or 60 gallons a minute, and so we really looked at the thing and said, well, we need to do 50 or 60 gallons a minute.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. And so that's the process. That machine is running. It's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I think we still need to. We're still fine-tuning it. That's what we're doing. We're fine-tuning it.
Very cool.
So that was why the move. The entire reason was just to do a better job.
Gotcha. Okay. Blue Line Automotive and Aviation Detailing says, is it possible to use gray Tolco sprayer heads on the IK spray bottle? I find that the spray head unscrews easily while using on a regular spray bottle. I was thinking maybe they don't come loose on the IK. Yeah, I believe you can try. I think the thread pitch is the exact same, so you can throw it in. Yeah.
I think I saw a couple of different sprayers being shown on that.
Of course. We actually used to
today.
run some gold Tolcos on some of the IK bottles here without any issues. So yeah, you could totally do that, Blue Line. Not an issue at all. And then Hans closing saying, let's go. He's extremely excited. And then Edmund Iverson says, holy cow, I haven't been to a live Q&A since before Levi left. It's nice to be back. Ed, thank you so much for joining us. I hope the pirate crew is fantastic. Edmund Iverson is a big fan of not only Halloween, but he's a big fan of, basically essentially setting up full ghost houses, haunted houses.
Oh, really?
Everything
One of
like
those
that.
houses, nice.
And he's got he's got a full skeleton crew of essentially skeletons that he dressed up as pirates, and then many of them are actually using detailing products, which is amazing.
Oh, cool.
So he sent us plenty of pictures of skeletons using Bead Maker with an orange, Eagle Edgeless 500, and we appreciate the creativity. We love
Very
that.
nice. Cool.
Next up here, we've got Laramie Zimmerman says, I have a Rupes LK900E, and I pair it with a DA Blue Coarse wool. Sometimes when I'm polishing, it likes to hop around. Does that mean I don't have enough compound, or the pad is full? Yeah, possibly. You could have too much buildup. You maybe not have enough lubrication. What kind of compound are you using? I mean,
the other thing I see about Rupes jumping around a little bit is that you're not holding the polisher flat.
Yeah, that could be.
And then sometimes if the pad isn't perfectly centered, you get a wobble sometimes.
Rupes LK900. Why can't I think of that freaking model?
That's not ringing a bell to me either,
it's
but
not
I'm
ringing a
putting
bell to me
Rupes
either.
together with a DA coarse wool pad, and I'm assuming it's a polisher.
Yeah. Moving on. We've got Blue Line says.
The other thing though is it can start to dry. You can get dry product under the thing. For sure.
Yep, totally. Is P&S working on a more affordable glass coating? Diamond Protect and many others are in the $30 range for a 30 ml bottle. Also, will glass coatings be available in 50 ml bottles for mere convenience?
I don't know the answer to that.
That's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. If you don't know, it's best to just say, we don't know, and move on. But hey, maybe, eventually, soon, we'll see. Hans Klosen says,
hey.
Dave. Hans is very excited to see you. And then AT4 says, all of my favorite products, my hero. So I think AT4 is saying that he loves all of P&S products. And, how could you not, right? Such an awesome line. Dan Pfeiffer says, Dave is always a fantastic guest. Love where when he joins and shares deeper insights and knowledge. Agreed.
I will endeavor to do that.
Yeah.
I will.
And then the one who shall remain nameless, we'll think of a name. Sydney, what's this guy's name today?
How about potato in honor of Idaho?
Okay. Is that just you throwing that out there?
I just threw that out there.
Okay. Did you know we actually just got some, for the first time in I don't know how many years, we have some new customization plates that we can get here in Idaho for our vehicles.
Yes.
Well, we were talking about the customized plates.
I can't wait.
Earlier yesterday.
So you can now get a full black plate, right, with white lettering, and it just says Famous Potatoes on it, right? Which is, so our plate has always had Famous Potatoes on it, but it's always been like the red, white, and blue, the whole thing. And it's a fine looking plate. It's not an ugly plate, but now we have that, and there's like a new yellow plate, and I think a new like white and teal plate, which is pretty cool. So we got some like pretty cool, little plates, and so
it sounds like they're a bit of a moneymaker from what I was hearing yesterday.
It does, but Potato here, right, if we're calling them that, says, good afternoon, happy Friday,
There's
Junior.
a question involved with this.
From sunny and hot south coast of Massachusetts, I hope you're all well. I will be listening in the background while I work on my pressure washer setup. Well, congratulations. We hope you have no leaks in your pressure washer setup.
So Sydney has changed products on this. Do we do that at all?
Sydney, you're using some Radiance now, right?
Yeah, she switched to Radiance. So the first one was Frostbite.
And I do think this is interesting, okay? So this will be the first time that I've used Radiance on top of Stout. And I don't know if you guys can see what's happening, but it's not really sticking to it.
No, not at all.
Which is totally fine, totally fine. So Radiance, when put in a foam cannon, is going to be a little bit more, a wet foam. So we don't expect this to foam shaving cream type foam. So I used Frostbite first as like a Decon soap, and then I rinsed it, and now I'm really just using the foam cannon to spread the Radiance across the surface and kind of let it sit. This car has been coated for almost a year with no maintenance. So I just thought this would be a nice little wash to do today. But I do think it's really funny that the Radiance will not stick to the coating.
I think it is
Which
funny.
I haven't seen that before, so kind of fun.
No, it's still looking good. I think it'll still provide some good lubrication.
Yeah.
Next question here. We've got Alkaline Trio, Alkaline Top Hat, Dan Digna saying, damn, Sydney has a good taste in cars.
That is true.
Yeah, Sydney does. She likes her cars.
I do like the Mopar Rumble.
Yes. Let's see. What product is most similar to Adam's Detail Spray, would you say, is similar or exactly the same? I don't, formulation-wise, I don't really know.
Yeah, I've used Adam's Detail Spray before. It's been quite a few years. It's a nice product, but I would say paint gloss is as close as we get. Adam's Detail Spray, it might have a little bit more. It might have a little bit more depth than paint gloss does. Mm-hmm. So the other choice I would make would be Dream Maker.
Yeah, totally.
Because it has a color enhancement feel to it.
Yep.
And it really pops the paint. But it's been a long time since I've used Adam's Detail Spray, but I remember it having just a little bit more substance to it than paint gloss. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. That's a great shot. Yeah, Dave, you're probably wondering how we're getting these shots. We have people in the walls and we have people in the ceilings, hanging down like Mission Impossible.
Well, this is interesting because Lee and I, we haven't watched Survivor for years, and a friend of ours said, "Oh, I want to be on Survivor," so we thought, well, we better watch one. And I can't figure out how they don't ever get a cameraman on any photo or any shot ever.
I know they're pretty good about that.
They are pretty good.
Pretty good about that. I agree with you.
I mean, we're surrounded with cameramen.
Yeah, we are. We are. But I agree with you. I have also, my wife is a huge Survivor fan. She absolutely loves it. And so she watches it every single season. And I think the same thing to myself. I go, so you're telling me that they're filming these things at nighttime and they're trying to be quiet. I'm like, you're telling me these cameramen are like ghosts? like, you're not seeing them at all? It's like, because even if I did see them, I wouldn't mind. I would probably be like, oh, okay, that's real,
Right.
But no, they really cut them out pretty good. We have David. YWG says, Sydney, did you once mention that you can install Defender over Beadmaker? It's intuitive, and I may
unintuitive.
It's unintuitive, and I may be misremembering.
Yes. So I do in the wash clay seal method is really the only time I do this. But so when I do the wash clay seal, I'm using Beadmaker as my clay lube. And, it works really well because when you're exfoliating the paint, I think it allows the bead maker to bond with the paint better. So you get all the bead maker, but keeping in mind we are using it wet and using it as a clay lube. So then once the car is dry, then Defender works in the same way as it does with coatings. So there is a curing time and a curing component to bead maker. So if we top that with Defender, within that curing time, the two kind of cure together. And in my experience, and I've been doing this for, probably 2.5 years, it makes an incredible sealant. Not that Defender's not great on its own means, but I obviously like to do the wash clay seal, and you wouldn't use Defender as your clay lube. And so the two together, like some kind of crazy magic happens, and it's probably one of those things that was unintended, but it works so well. Now, I will say that I definitely do prefer to put the Defender on in a couple hours so that they can cure together. But some sort of crazy magic happens. Dave might be able to explain it better, but it really was like a unintentional kind of accidental find that the two products just work together so well.
So yeah, they are different polymers, but they do cure the same way. Mm-hmm. So what would happen there is you're actually kind of doing a copolymer. So when you have one of the same, all the same MERS, the units, those are polymers. But if you mix two different ones, they end up being called copolymers. Okay. So typically, I think technically the idea is you would alternate one polymer and then another one and then back to the original and and you would make this copolymer thing. You're not going to get that application, but you are going to mix the two polymers together, and you're going to get an alternation to a certain extent.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty sweet. So they do mingle. They do hang out.
They mingle, and then they are compatible.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. Next up here, we've got another question from Edmund Iverson. Says, could you contrast paint gloss to release as pertaining to carpet vacuuming? Thanks in advance.
Yeah, to a certain extent. So paint gloss and release both have anti-stats in them. And so that is where the similarity basically ends. After that, we have, added more ingredients specifically for carpet, maintenance. So we have an anti-soil in there. We have an odor neutralizer in release. We have a really nice, a better fragrance. Mm-hmm. And the anti-stat is actually is something that's designed to be an anti-stat. The anti-stat that's in paint gloss is kind of like an associated chemical that's kind of an accidental anti-stat. Okay, yeah. So it worked really well for that, but it wasn't necessarily designed to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this has a little bit more intention, and obviously chemically, it's just gonna be way better for your carpets and whatnot, because again, it's gonna have the odor eliminator. It's going to kind of like the little anti-soiling effect that Sydney had kind of mentioned. So it'll have some other benefits as well. So it's actually kind of almost a best to buy release and use that like you were maybe using paint gloss before on your carpets. Next up here, we've got Carson actually joining the party in the back there with Sydney. Looks like I don't know what they're doing.
It's feeling, and it was crazy.
Oh, wow.
So I don't even know how to put this into words, but with the Radiance on top of the Stout, it literally feels like you're washing a car on ice. Like, it's so slippery and so slick. It's like, it feels like driving on ice. Like, it's
We
crazy.
have to go see it?
So I was like, I need somebody to feel what I'm feeling. Yeah, come back, Dave. You got to feel, this is crazy, you guys. I've never, like, you almost can't hold on. Which way is the camera? Front or back? Here, come up here. It's the wildest thing.
You're the only one that has a microphone, so we're going to have to talk really loud. Okay.
All right. Like, you can barely hold on to it, right? Is that wild?
That is very, very, very slick.
It feels like you're washing on ice.
Oh, yeah. It's like it's floating over the surface.
Yeah. Isn't
Kinda
that
like you have clay on it or something.
Isn't that wild? Anyway, I just needed somebody to feel what I was feeling, so I had to grab Carson walking by. Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
That was fun. Thanks, everyone.
We got to keep things technical, right? We want to be checking things out. It's also nice to just kind of get up and walk around every once in a while. These chairs are more comfortable than the other ones, but it's just kind of nice to...
Oh, what? You had something else? I noticed that the really comfy chairs are...
Well, we had these other chairs that would kind of eat you alive, and they were, you kind of suck into them, and they would hold you at this kind of like anti-gravity, angle, and I wasn't a big fan of those. These are better. Dave, reach out if you guys come to Copper for the 4th. Would love to see you and Bob. What's Copper?
Copper Cove. It's an area up in Lake Tulloch.
Okay.
And yeah, I believe we are. That's going to be we're going to end our hike, and then we're going to head down there, I believe. But it hasn't been formalized yet.
Okay, cool. Next up here, we've got another comment from Dan says, would a ceramic coating help keep single-stage paint from hazing over? Any product recommendations?
We typically say that a ceramic coating is not a repair mechanism, right? It doesn't. The thing about ceramic coatings is they tend to follow all the microscopic contours of the paint. So when you put a ceramic coating on something that's got, microscopically all these fissures and things, it follows them. And you can actually, sometimes you can see the coating kind of disappear because it kind of goes down into all these cracks and crevices. So I'm going to say that in general, I would say no. However, I have used it because in a few instances on a single stage paint that had like a oxidation on it, had turned powdery on the outside. Yeah. And I polished it, cleaned it up, got it glossy, and then put coating on it, and it does seem to be holding up.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm not going to say I'm not going to say this is what you should do. This is going to save your single stage paint. I'm going to say I've seen it work in one instance, but it was a little surprising.
Yeah. I've experimented with this actually plenty. We've experimented with this around the shop over the years. We've had single stage hoods in that we've coated. We've had cars kind of come and go. And I've thrown coatings over the top of these things, and I was surprised. In terms of the durability is so much more on those than that of just a typical wax. Oh, sure. I would say it would require the oxidation will still happen, right? Hazing will still happen with time on single stage, no matter what, right? If air can still get to that paint, it's going to happen. But I think that the decline is significantly less with a ceramic coating than that of like a wax, and so I think it's going to kind of hold in, seal up those pores just a little bit more, and eventually, again, you will have to refinish it. I mean, what's funny is that the paint can still technically oxidize while it's still coated. I mean, so the coating would still maybe even have some decent hydrophobic behavior while it's beginning in those initial stages of oxidation. So, but you have CSL Exo, any one of those would work, really. I mean, you can just throw it on and kind of see what happens. I think that technically one of the most C1 crystal lacquer from G-Technic, I think, was one of the most used on single stage paints back in the day, because that was one of the very first initial ceramic coatings that kind of came to market around then, and they were designing that for a lot of single stage use way back. So crystal 1C1. But that said, you can use whatever the heck you got. If you have a bottle you want to waste, or not waste, if you want to just use a bottle of something, go for it. Next up here, we've got ProShine Solutions saying, hello, friends. What's going on, man? It's a nice wave. Next up, Dane, we've got Ryan Rigdon says, good afternoon, Anthony and Dave. Very much appreciate both. Ryan, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you, my friend. Dane, I know Dane doesn't have a mic. I hope he's doing good back there. I hope that he's feeling fulfilled back there sending these comments. Brian says, I wash my precious car towels on their own with RTR, but what about the household microfiber? Can I wash them with clothes? Household microfiber, can I wash them with clothes?
Well, you guys are the microfiber experts.
Well, so you can wash, you can wash anything with microfiber. It just know that microfiber is going to quite literally pick up every single little thing from the clothing, that you name it, right? So like, if you wash a shirt with dog hair on it, and you throw in a fresh microfiber cloth, chances are that microfiber is going to have some dog hair on it. Same thing with jean lint. Same thing with, I did this the other day. I washed a pair of shorts with I like a flyer. I got from an event or something like that, like a piece of paper flyer. Disintegrates in my pocket, in the wash.
That'll be there.
And it turns into 50 million pieces of, little paper particulates, right? There was a ripping rag that I had thrown in the wash. It was like a gray, it was one of our 12 by 12s, and that landed in there, and I pulled that out, and that towel had all these little particulates on it and everything like that. So, if that doesn't, and the thing is that's not necessarily going to degrade the microfiber substantially, but what it's going to do is just going to hold on to a bunch of stuff that kind of defeats the purpose of the microfiber, right? Microfiber being safe, soft, gentle, and everything, scratch-free, mar-free. Well, whatever the heck lands on that towel, I don't know if those paper particulates are going to be scratch-free or mar-free at that point once it's on that towel. So my wife does wash the microfiber towels that she uses for cleaning and whatnot with some cotton towels often. Again, they are often very linty and have a bunch of things on them, but they're still completely functional for what she needs them to be. Just to know, if you're crazy, you probably should wash your towels on your own. But always use your RTR. Always use rag stretches with every single microfiber watch.
Yeah, I would say
there's a person that made that. He's right here. It's right next to me.
Yeah, that was kind of a fun story. When we, I was waiting around for you guys to have one, and okay, I'm just gonna make one.
Yeah, and you did, and you did an awesome. It was a lot of back and forth. Gosh, that took a long time.
Yeah, it did take a long time. I will say, I mostly worry about my clothes if I do wash a microfiber towel with clothing, it's usually going to be a synthetic or a wool. I don't do cotton. Yeah. But I'm mostly worried about the things from the microfiber, whatever I've used in my garage, polishes or whatever, getting on my clothes. Yeah. So that's kind of the opposite. You don't want a solvent towel or some type of landing in there washing me like this. So that's kind of the opposite concern. But I think my original concern was always getting a bunch of lint from from the cotton onto the microfiber, because that's the direction it's going to go.
Totally, it makes sense. We do have some feedback from Dane. It says, Dane here. I'm camped out with the iPad in the control room to feed these guys comments. Okay, Dane, just wanted to make sure that you were alive and well. And then Greg says 70-mile hike. Wow. Way to go, Dave.
It was funny when we did the John Muir Trail, there were so many firsts. It was like, well, this is the first time I've camped for 8 days, and this is the first time I've gone over 50 miles. And, once we finally got there, we crossed that threshold, and now it's like 70. That's what we're going to do.
That is, it's crazy.
We'll be out in the middle of it going like, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm telling you, Dave, if I went on one of these hikes with you, the food would be a very big concern. But I would love to. To be cooking on the trails. To be, fresh stuff. If I could catch a fish, that would be wonderful.
Oh, that's something that I might want to think about that, because we've thought about that several times. It's like, I've never been a fisherman.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why don't we just bring along a pole? I mean, they don't weigh anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing for backpacking is like, well, how much is this going to weigh? You know, and it's like, well, I don't want to carry it because it's just not worth it. But
I would
fishing pole's light.
I would love that. I would love just a fishing pole with me. So a long time ago, and this is a very short story, I went on a camping trip with my friends, and the goal was to go camping up at this reservoir about 2 hours away, right? And we went up there, and we brought no food with us.
Oh, wow.
We went for 3 days. Because we told everybody, because two of us had fishing licenses, the other person did not, that we would catch everything and eat everything. We brought one loaf of bread, like literally just the smallest loaf of bread, and they brought like, I think it was like 5 cases of like Keystone Ice and a couple things of water bottles. It was horrible. Don't ever drink Keystone Ice, like the worst. But like they brought that, and we had fishing poles, and we went out there, and it was the funniest thing. For 3 days, we caught, I think, 6 fish total, right? They're all very small. They weren't super big, but we had enough tinfoil, lemon juice, butter. We brought butter, garlic, and garlic salt that we just made it work, right? So we'd go out, we'd catch the fish, bring it to the tailgate of the truck, gut it, skin it, whatever it is, wrap it up in the tinfoil, lemon juice, butter, garlic salt, and throw it right into the fire, right?
Oh, nice, yeah,
and
like a foil stew
just
sort
a
of thing,
foil
right?
stew, and then we'd pull it out, and we all split it. It was like, we felt like we were eating like kings. I mean, it was such small pieces, but we were like, wow, that's so good. But we had a lot of fun, and I highly recommend doing that at least once in your life. You never just attempted to catch what you would eat. It's pretty fun.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Speaking of places where you can catch things to eat, Alaska. So Dan says, tell Dave he's welcome to come to Alaska sometime. He's got a staging area available.
Oh, very cool.
Wow. Dan's up there, and Dan's he could show you a lot of cool places over there.
Beautiful place.
Next up here, Hydra Detailing. Hi all, what's going on? And then Mo44, what cleaning product is suitable for vegan? Leather cleaner, conditioner, or just wipes?
Well, the wipes certainly work good. Express Interior Cleaner is great. I mean, but the wipes are basically Express Interior Cleaner on a wipe. There's also Swift, Swift product, which is has a dressing conditioner in it as well. Not really necessary, but because I mean it's just so amazing. Express Interior Cleaner leaves such a nice, slick, dry feeling finish. It's just
totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Next up here, we've got from Dane, Sheepstar checking in. What's going on, Sheep? Hopefully you are safe in the safe house still. I noticed your video is not videoing as much. Well, at least not, commenting as much. But anyways, Gabe Garcia, let's say you hit the spot on your blue WRX while applying Stout. How would you fix the high spots? Is Stout self-cannibalizing? Asking for a friend. Oh, Carson. Yes, he high spotted his car.
Yeah, well, the trick with Stout is not to wait around.
Okay.
And as Sydney says, wipe with purpose.
Yeah.
So that is a trick to avoiding high spots. And if you do that, they really aren't very common at all.
Gotcha.
But what we're recommending for high spots now is therapy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And a very soft foam pad. And just give it a quick once over and just kind of clean that spot up.
Yeah, no, Carson, he effed around and he found out real fast. I mean, what he did is, I couldn't believe it. He said he applied Stout, but then he went inside to make dinner to try to see, if he had some time, and then came back and he waited just far too long, and his tire side of his car was just a complete mess. So,
wow,
a little bit of therapy to fix that. I think that
therapy would be good.
Yeah,
that is much more than I have experience with. So you may have to polish for a while, especially if it's been on there.
I told him, I said, hey, you got to put your elbow into it. You know what I mean? Really get after it, right? Get that coating off there. And so next time, we might have to reset that. Gabe might have to help him. Next question here, we've got, let's see, ProShine saying GT500 in the shop today. Ooh. Curious what you're all doing to protect vinyl stripes when correcting paint. Seems adhesive on the tape will etch the vinyl. Yeah, that can happen. I know what you're saying. A low tack tape is quite nice. Something just to kind of separate the edge would probably be what one thing that I'd recommend doing. It's just, if you've got really high tack tape and you've got, a hot hood, a hot surface, or the conditions in your area, and, you could go and pull that tape and you could pull a little bit of that top, that top coat of that vinyl off, which you don't want to do. Sydney, if you were dealing with that, how would you go about doing it? Tape or just going raw? I'm
curious what you're all doing to protect vinyl stripes when correcting paint. So
you know what he's saying, though?
Like, they have that like yellow tape that is pretty.
Yeah, it's like a low tack tape.
Yeah, it's like, I can't remember what brand it is, but it's like a low tack tape.
3M
that
makes
works
it.
really, really good. But honestly, sometimes with those, as I trim around the vinyl and then I go back over with therapy, and it catches anything if it went over the vinyl, but it also, like, the therapy's vinyl safe.
Yeah.
So just depending on the condition of the stripes, but if you really want to tape them off, sometimes it's hard because of the curves and things like that. So you're almost better, trimming it out with like a 3-inch or a 2-inch polisher is what I do.
1 inch, whatever.
And then I go back over the whole area with therapy. So
totally.
That's how I do it, because I find tape hard to work with, but they do make that new, it's really thin and it's really maneuverable. And I have had to tape off like older decals because I wanted to make sure I didn't do anything to them. So then I use that like low tack yellow tape. It's awesome. The only problem is if you hit it with your polisher, you may, rip it off. But if it's a newer GT500, you should be good with the tape, or, trim it out with whatever you're polishing with, and then you can go back with something like therapy. If you don't have therapy, then maybe just avoid the vinyl.
Yeah.
I mean, I do that all the time. I kind of, draw my box with my polisher, and I stay, a 1/4 inch away from the vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, how important is that last 1/4 inch, right?
Yeah, not very.
Like,
Not very.
Nice. Okay, moving on here. We've got Greg. It says, now that you're doing the R&D mostly, what new products are you looking to bring to market?
Well, what's that?
Yeah, if he told you, you'd have to kill you.
Yeah,
so.
it's we get ourselves in trouble announcing things a little bit too early. So, and I am just getting started. So, Sydney and I, though, we have reestablished our list of things that we're going to work on, and I think we're looking at some fun stuff coming up. So, but I have to kind of. It was funny, when I first got started doing a lot of R&D, I was doing it a lot more. And I always had like, 6 or 7 things just like off in the distance that so I would be working with old products or a product, and I go, but wait till we see what we get next. So right now I have to admit, it's like I usually have 1 or 2 products that I'm working on. I hope to be back where I was doing before, where I have like 5 or 6 things, just trying to fine tune them and getting better and better. That will be really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Aaron saying, hello, fellas. What's going on? Catching this later, says Alex. Can't believe I need to miss Sydney, Dave, and Anthony. Love you all. Thank you for stopping by, Alex. Appreciate it.
Alex.
And then we've got Jeff C. says, can Dave talk about the suitability of crystal wash for decon of ceramic coated vehicles? Is it effective and safe to clean coatings that are clogged with rose salt and other minerals?
Yes, and stay tuned, because I think we just worked on a video for that. Sydney and I did yesterday, so stay tuned. I don't know how long it takes for them to come out. But yes, it is. But we covered a whole bunch of information on decon, how often you really need to do it. But we just did it yesterday. It does a wonderful job. And then we did it on the drift car yesterday, which was pretty heavily clogged. I'm not sure it had coating on it.
Jimmy's 350.
Yeah.
We don't know what the heck it had on it, to be honest. Yeah.
But coated or not, the process of decontaminating the surface is basically the same.
Yep.
And Crystal Wash is great for that. So we went over the various Decon products, either, a Decon soap or an iron remover or Crystal Wash. And each one has its strengths and weaknesses. Crystal Wash is really good for removing basically well, we were saying it's really good for removing everything but iron, but then when we went back over with iron remover, we found that the Crystal Wash did an excellent job. There really wasn't a lot of iron showing up on the surface anymore. Yep. We kind of have to adjust some of our comments based on our experimental evidence. Yep. It did a great job, and it's a great start to, even if you're going to use a decontamination wash afterwards, it's a great preliminary product for it.
Very cool. Okay, so moving on here, we've got Mac Bergson says, hey everyone, hope everyone had a good week. Thank you, Mac, appreciate it. So far so good. Hans says, I want 2 Fat Joe tubs, please. Well, Hans, I don't know. You'll have to sweet talk Sydney or something. I don't know how we're going to ship those to you, but never say never. Moving on.
I think that's an easy job, but, it requires, finding a shipment that's about to go over there and then telling somebody, this is for Hans. It's a whole thing. I mean, I will definitely try, but that's a huge mountain to climb.
We call Hans the man with the dragon tattoo because he has a tattoo of a dragon somewhere on his body, and we think it's relatively large.
I definitely recognize the name. So
I would like to see, Hans, if you were to commit to a Fat Joe tattoo alongside the dragon on your body, then I think we could absolutely make this happen, right? I think that this would be something very cool. Sheepstar says, everyone, if your name wasn't called Gabe, doesn't think you're famous. Huh. Les Hernandez says, hi, I didn't understand. Hi, guys, from South Louisiana, and drying aid that I can stretch out by diluting water, trying to aid my budget. What could you dilute with water, distilled water in the lineup from P&S? That would still be suitable.
We make car wash drying aids, but they're not going to be appropriate for this scenario.
Yeah, but is there anything that's ready to use, and maybe the double black line that you could dilute with water to extend the life of any of the products?
Sydney, you have any thoughts?
Let me read the question. So
any drying aid.
Just any type of quick wipe down product that could be diluted with water. Like, so for example, that would aid in the drying experience. Like paint gloss, if you diluted paint gloss, it'd probably be too diluted, right?
Yeah, that's a ready to use thing for sure.
Okay, so we tried something today that I honestly have never tried.
Go ahead.
We sprayed Bead Maker on the car wet and used it as a rinse aid versus a drying aid. So we sprayed Bead Maker on the wet car after it had been rinsed and then re-rinsed it and then dried it, and it was actually amazing. So I would almost start with that.
Okay, and then the other one, we have a product called Spray It. And Spray It is a dilutable product, and I think you can use it as kind of a paint treatment, kind of like a drying aid wax. But if you wanted to dilute it out more, you could probably take Spray It, dilute it out even further, and just use it as a drying aid.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's
that would
a good
be what
idea.
I would do.
No, I like that a lot. Next up here, we've got Jeremy Alf says, if your vehicle is coated with P&S Stout and you're having to do a paint touch-up, can you just fill in without polishing / wet sanding prior? You should be able to. If it's a new chip in an area that had been previously coated, usually it'll bond still pretty well because that chipped area has no coating in it. If you wanted to just do you really ensure it, you could just literally clean that area, a little bit of compound, and just make sure you clean that whole chip out really, really well. Clean it out with IPA, and then go through your touch-up process, and then eventually coat over it.
I mean, my experience is you usually want to just leave the paint in the divot anyway.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
You don't want that stuff coming up over the edge and looking like a little bump. So
no, you just
it may play into your favor.
Yeah, you just want to fill just enough in there to get color into the chip. That's the whole goal, is just to get color in there to where it's much less catching to the eye. All right, next up here, we've got David Cervantes saying, what's up, everyone? What's going on, David? Good to see you. Ooh, Sydney, that car is looking so good. Juice-free, really excited about the car as well. Looking exceptionally glossy over there. And then, let's see. Stilly says, I think Anthony and Sydney should switch places. LOL, Anthony, love you. You are too funny, man. You are too funny. Andy Stilly, everybody. I
would say yes, but we have a little surprise coming up for the second half. So Anthony's going to be off the hook for that.
Am I?
Yes, I promise.
Is it a good thing for me? Oh, it's good.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, because you're going to get to sit right there.
Oh, sweet.
So it's a really good thing for you.
Nice. Okay. Next up here, we've got, let's see, who else do we got? My new IK won't kick on to auto pump. I turn it on, it never comes on. I have to pump. Andy, reach out to customer service. Lucas will get you taken care of. We'll figure that out together. Megan Benson says, my first live. I only started listening when Sydney was subbing for Anthony. Glad to see the feminine energy has returned. It is here quite often, Megan. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. AT4 says, I know this may be unconventional, but I feel like it might be better for me to learn paint correction via hand polishing prior to using machine. Can TLC be used with this method? Yes, 100%. You can hand polish with last cut till your heart's desired. Same thing with rehab. Same thing with, any of the new P&S compounds and polishes can be done that way. Your arm's gonna be pretty tired, but you can do it. Yeah, this was a thing that we used to do. Years ago, especially, and we were in San Francisco. We had our first, facility was in San Francisco. We had a lot of people that came. We had a counter sale, kind of traditional 1950s, 60s counter sale is cool. But people would come in and they'd go like, well, hey, and they'd bring their car. And we'd go, oh, sure, well, we'll go do a spot. Well, you always did them by hand, but you'd have this clean spot left on their car. It's like, well, now you got your work cut out for you. Totally.
Because they, back then they were all rotary buffers. You didn't, you took a lot of training to do that. So they had some work, but it was always done by hand. I would start with a nice, good microfiber towel, no terry cloth. You're going to scratch the surface. So, you're going to want to start off with your microfiber towel. Or maybe even an applicator pad. They kind of squish around too much, and just work the surface, trying not to put any surface scratches in. Agreed. Okay, sweet. Yeah, no, there's plenty of ways to hand polish, but nowadays it's just it's definitely an arm workout. Matt Brubaker says, I've had multiple orders at a vendor come in with yellow separation issues. Is this common for a Defender or some kind of storage issue? Safe to use? ? So it really depends on the amount. We are seeing this. So if there's a lot, it's pretty unsightly, and we will replace kind of the more aggressive versions of this. If it's just a couple little dots in the top, yes, this is a reactive polymer. It's supposed to react, but it's reacting a little bit before we wanted it to. So small amounts aren't going to be a big deal, but if you see a lot, get in contact with us, because we want to make sure that you get the product. Generally speaking, except in the worst cases, it's going to work fine. It's going to keep working, and it's just unsightly. Gotcha. Okay. Good to know. Very good to know. And I'm glad you guys are doing something about it too, which is cool. So Jose Martinez. And by the way, we've stopped that from happening. Okay, cool. So it's been fixed. Yes. It's been addressed. Gotcha. Jose Martinez says, awesome to have Dave live with Anthony. Hi, Sydney. So Jose, what's going on, my friend? Hope all is well. And next up here, we've got Alkaline Trio. Rupa's LK900s are old gear-driven polisher, 8mm. Oh, I remember that. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So gear-driven works fine. The same way. Yeah. Hopping around, though. It could be hopping around because it's gear. It could be because it is gear-driven. And you could have a dry pad. That's probably what I'm thinking. Okay, moving on. Couple questions left here before break. Hydra Detailing says, is there any advice to use Absolute in full sun? This is the only reason why I like the O&R more than O&R more for my mobile details. So interesting. We use Absolute in full sun all the time. Yeah. There's really no... even, down in Monterey when we're down there, we use Absolute all the time. I might suggest maybe diluting it out a little bit more. Yeah. Maybe typically with glass cleaners and stuff, we might dilute things out with DI water if say the glass cleaner has too much actives in it and it starts to smear on the glass, we'll say dilute it out more. And there's a possibility that could work for you. Gotcha. Okay, cool. One more question here. We've got 4 brand hosts 4. Sure.
Getting to do my first rinseless wash in my car. After I dry the car, can I apply Bead Maker mixed with Dream Maker 10-to-1? Should I use it as a drying aid or for the do a full application? You can totally do that combo. Somebody made that combo way back in the day. I can't remember who it was, but it became pretty popular. Not anymore. And so should I use it? You can use it either or. Drying aid, full application. It does feel good. It does look good. It does smell really good. So either one works, and it's a really good time. So I'm just joking. So all right, that is going to wrap up our first half here of Q&A Thursday. Dave, this has been so awesome.
Wow. Yeah,
I'm excited
great
to see what's to come. Sydney says there's an extra special surprise in part 2 of this. So don't go anywhere. Check out the website. P&S sale is going on right now. It's our full week for P&S Brand Week. It's been so awesome. Check it out. Pick up a swag bag. All those amazing things. With that said, we have a few commercial breaks from ourselves as well as our brand partners, and we will be back here momentarily for the second half. See you soon.
All right, bye. Or see you later.
Soon, yes. Yeah, in a few minutes. All right, and we have returned for the second half of Q&A Thursday during our P&S Brand Week. Joining me today is Mr. Dave Phillips, the mad scientist, the godfather of Bead Maker and plenty of other amazing P&S products, joining us for answering your questions and just kind of talking the talk, walking the walk. It's been good so far.
Seeing what's up.
And then in the back, we have Miss Sydney Bray-Gwen, and then a special guest. Yes. Somebody we've never seen before on the Rad Company YouTube channel, but this is one of the other halves of Sydney. Well, I mean, technically, we'll call it that. So, Sydney, who do we have here?
So this is my son, Tristan, and no one has ever seen him before. But so Delaney likes to steal the spotlight. So we've seen a lot of Delaney, and she's working today, so I figured I would bring Tristan to work with me. And he has a Subaru Impreza RS. He hasn't washed it in several weeks, so it's super dirty. So I said, hey, it's been several weeks. So I brought it in. I had him bring it in and said, let's wash it, because Dad's car, not very dirty. So I knew there was no way I was going to be able to stretch that out for a whole nother hour. So he had football today, and I said, guess what? You get to come wash your car at the Rad Company afterwards. So the Subaru RS, for those who don't know, is like the baby brother to Carson's car. So it has all the WRX parts except for the fun engine.
Yeah. So I mean that's a big portion of it, but we'll say it's still most of the fun part. So what I want to know though is if I was just getting done at football practice, I didn't really play sports. I played lacrosse. It not really a true sport, but I mean, if somebody were to say, hey, you have to come wash your car afterwards, right? That's a lot of work back to back. But fortunately, here in the Rad Company studio, it is a wonderful 68 degrees. It's nice and cool, right, Sydney?
Yeah.
She's going to work harder this less hard.
It's really humid back here because I use the pressure washer a lot, so it's really humid back here.
You're doing great. And so,
Sydney, where are the curls?
What?
Where are the curls?
Well, that's the problem. Like, my hair was curly, and
you humidity to straighten it out? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, well, Tristan, welcome. Feel free to talk. Feel free to not say anything at all. Whatever the heck you want to do. The world is your oyster. Just have fun washing your car with your mom. I think this is a beautiful thing. I've never washed a car with my mom. I think that would be very special if me and her were to do that someday. So you've given me inspiration. But with that said, kind of back on track here, P&S Brand Week is currently happening right now at theradcompany.com. If you head to the website, you're going to see some very beautiful curated kits that are going to be for all of your detailing needs, whether it's interior, exterior, rinseless washing, and a little bit of everything between. Now, if you purchase one of these amazing kits at an already discounted rate, mind you, you are going to get a free gift. And what is that free gift, you might ask? That is going to be a limited edition batch of express wipes called Fat Joe wipes that are a eucalyptus mint tea scent, which is amazing. And you're also going to get a little Fat Joe stuffed animal that you can pass down to your kids. You're going to get a sticker. and some freaking hot sauce, right? And the thing is about the hot sauce is that it's actually good. This is not some like off the shelf, like, yeah, you know, it's whatever, it's okay hot sauce. I mean, like, this sauce is 100% legit. Probably one of my favorite hot sauces that I've tried recently. So you got to get that at least for the hot sauce itself.
I recently had a larger experience with the hot sauce because at work somebody took the fun stopper off and I went.
Oh, so you went all in.
I went all in, and I turned it orange. It was good, though. I liked it.
Still delicious.
It's really tasty.
So anyways, this is your one kind of opportunity to get this. We aren't really making any more of these kits. Once they're gone, they're gone. I have a feeling they will probably sell out today, so if you want to pick up one, now is the time to do it. We had probably roughly a quarter left when I checked earlier today, and so we're getting pretty low. But anyways, so P&S Brand Week, we've had a lot of great content that's come out this week, including some YouTube videos, Instagram lives, TikTok lives, some stuff shot on Amazon, which has been really cool, and then really just kind of supporting the brand and having everybody out here. Bob was actually here for the first few days, hanging out, doing the business talk and everything in between, and now we have Dave here. We have the creative side here to really go over all of the fun chemistry stuff.
I always like to point out that for some reason I end up being the talker, and Bob is technically the talker.
I don't know what happens. Maybe it's this building. Maybe it's something in the Boise air or something, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how we do it, but we extract a lot out of you, and we like it. So, anyways, we have Dane in the ether on the comments. He has been handling those and doing a great job, and he's going to dish us out some more questions, comments, concerns, and a little bit of everything between. So, Dane, what do we got? Juice free. Is there a theoretical limit on how good detailing chemicals can get, or will tire shine get better forever?
I think it'll keep getting better. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is like in the 1920s or something. Somebody said in the 1920s that nothing else was ever going to be invented again because everything's already been invented. It's like, well, that was pretty far off. So never say never. Yeah.
It could get pretty crazy, Juice. Next up here, we've got Megan says, will TRC offer a Bead Maker plus Dream Maker, Bead Maker and Defender bundle? I've been thinking of trying that since Sid did it on the Wash Clay and Protect in 1 hour video. Never say never. We could probably make that bundle if we find that that particular combo starts selling really well. What I'd probably do is I'd pick up the Bead Maker bundle while it's on sale right now and get that at a really good discount. And then you're also gonna get a free gift, which is cool. And then I'd probably throw in Defender, like a nice pint of Defender into the mix so you can do the whole thing. I think there is a kit too that has Bead Maker and a clay towel in it. Yeah.
Yes, there's the Wash Clay Seal bundle, which is so cool. It comes with Absolute, the Bead Maker, the clay, the whole bit, and then you would just add a bottle of Defender, and like Anthony said, you get that Fat Joe kit. So highly recommend. The Wash Clay Seal bundle is so cool.
Yep, there it is right there. Absolute, clay towel, Bead Maker,
yes.
Ultra Safe sponge, and a beautiful liquidator coming in at $60, saving you quite a bit. I mean, that's like closely almost 50%.
That's a good sale.
It's a killer deal. All right, moving on here. We've got next up in the comments, Sid, have you seen Toyota's new Wave Maker Blue? I know you are a teal girly.
I have seen it, and I think it looks good on the Tacoma, but when I saw it on like the Sequoia and the Tundra, that's too much blue. It's kind of like the Oreo cookie. You've got to have like equal parts. But no, I love it. I think it's super cool, but I would get a Tacoma.
Okay, cool. Next up here, Sheepstar says, eventually tire shines will just be sprayable chrome. Possibly. Next up, we've got a comment from Jay's Car Channel. Sydney, that Challenger is sick with heart eyes and plenty of them.
It is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I have to say, because this is funny, Dave was talking about like new adventures earlier. So you guys know, like I'm an adventure thrill seeker, right? And so that Challenger is about 4.5 years old, and it went on its first road trip this weekend. It drove like 500 miles. It's the first time it's ever been out of town. And then, fun fact, that was its first foam wash ever in its whole life.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Like, that's seeking adventure right there.
That's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. All right. Well, next up, we've got Juice Free says, I feel like the whole idea of technology evolving forever is a fallacy, and there's a limit on everything.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know, Juice. We'll see.
You know, it's so surprising, you know, when you think everything's been invented, it's like all of a sudden it's like there's a whole other industry that pops up. And, you know, I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah.
Well, look at AI. Ooh, kind of scary.
It is scary, fun.
Kind of scary, fun.
Yeah, scary and fun. You know, the Rad Company says, I feel like at a certain point you're just trying to reinvent the wheel for no real benefit other than novelty. Dane, are you with us or are you against us? Things can improve, but so, I don't know where Dane's going with this.
I was going to say, this kind of reminds me of, you know, our paint gloss discussion we had, you know, maybe 20 years ago or 15 years ago, whatever it was. And, you know, it's like, well, you know, we had this new product on the shelf for 4 years that wasn't yet called Bead Maker. Mm-hmm. And Bob's like, well, you know, we're selling a lot of paint gloss. I don't know if who needs another detail spray. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's like, you know, we tried it out. We tried it out in a few places and went, wow, that's kind of a whole new genre. And boom, there came the you know, the durable detail sprays.
Yep.
Out of nowhere.
Yep. Totally.
And a benefit. So I'm going to respectfully disagree too.
Yeah. Sheepstar says, I'm sure there's already better products available, but are they safe? Are they cost effective? Yeah, who knows? I mean, right? I mean, those are things to keep into account, right? Next up, Carlos says, what topper or drying aid could I use to repel dust? Paint gloss is a great drying aid. To repel dust. We really, really like that. I mean, in paint gloss, I talk about paint gloss all the time on here, Dave. It is literally, you can soak your entire car in paint gloss. You could dive into paint gloss, right? You can have towels literally sitting in vats of paint gloss, and it will still not seal things up and necessarily, you know, like what you would have with SiO2 sprays, you know, defenders and things like that. And so, I mean, paint gloss, you can use as much of it as you would like there with no ill effect. Correct?
Right. That is correct.
It's like not possible. Right.
No, it just keeps working, and it doesn't build up.
Yeah.
Right.
It
doesn't build up. It doesn't seal. It, you know, it's always, you know, I've always just called it end dust for cars. Mm-hmm. But it kind of, well, it's actually better than end dust for cars because I think if you kept using end dust on your furniture, it would get goopy. So it doesn't do that.
Yeah. And I just find that, you know, because some people, they want to just douse their car with some type of drying aid after spray. They want to do like a full Bead Maker application every time they wash their car. But, you know, you can't do that every single time. You're going to get the towels are going to get clogged. Your paint can start to get build up, things like that. But paint gloss, there's just no such thing as too much. So if you want something that you can just absolutely soak your car with and get all warm and fuzzy inside with a nice, soft, slick feel, paint gloss is still the way to do it.
Yep.
Next up here, we've got Dan says, I need to get more Rupa's yellow wool pads, but how do the purple foamed wool and the Eurofiber pads compare to the yellow wool? Any recommendations? I really like the cut, but not the haze.
Sydney?
So, Sydney.
I like the, so let's see, the purple wool. So I love the purple foam wool from Buff and Shine, and then the Eurofiber is probably in my top two. I mean, I really love that pad. I feel like I obviously use it with rehab, and I feel like I don't get any hazing at all. It's such a great one step. But the purple wool, which is the newer one for Buff and Shine, is really, really good. It is going to compare to that yellow wool as far as like cut and all of that. But I do feel like it cuts down on the hazing and things like that. So I highly recommend you getting the purple foam wool, the Eurofiber, but also I would look into where you can find the blue and white wool. So it's a short pile. It's a brand new wool that Buff and Shine has. It's the blue and white. It's kind of, it looks like the Eurofiber, meaning it's, you know, like it looks like little check marks, blue and white. That wool pad is amazing and doesn't leave the haze. So check that one out too, for sure.
Cool. Right on. Next up here, Megan Benson says, +1 to Carlos' question, but for pollen. Really same answer. What topper drying aid? Yep, pollen. Still, I mean, I think that paint gloss is still great for pollen. Next up, we've got Joseph Fuller says, hello, TRC, newbie here and enjoying/learning from all your videos. Welcome, Joseph. Welcome to the rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
You're going further down it. If you're here watching this video, you're already in it. You can't get out. You know too much now. There's no going back. Thank you. I just ordered a gallon of Bead Maker, I'm assuming. Bead Maker, Dream Maker, Brake Buster, Defender Express. Any guidance on diluting? All of those are pretty much going to be ready to use. You can dilute Brake Buster, you can dilute Express 1-to-1, 5-to-1 on some of those, and have some really good results.
There's an interesting thing that Anthony and team figured out is that Brake Buster can be diluted 5-to-1 and then foamed.
Correct. Yeah.
And the foam seems to increase the activity again.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice little trick.
So you're basically...
if you just dilute Brake Buster 5-to-1 and start spraying it, you're going to notice that it doesn't work as well. But when you foam it, it seems like it does.
So basically what it is you're trading off the concentration for the aerating effect of foaming it to get the active ingredients in Brake Buster to work faster. You know what I mean? So it's basically instantly, once it's foamed, it's almost like it's exciting all the chemicals in there. It lands on the surface, and it's instantaneous as it starts working. Not just with lubrication, not just with brushing, but just as a standalone spray on, dwell, rinse off type. Can I
take a little? I'm going to take a leap actually. Okay. So just take this with a grain of salt. But all the collectively, the ingredients in these products are called surfactants. That stands for a surface active agent. And the reason they're called that is because they're active on surfaces. Now, when you foam something, you basically make a bunch of bubbles, and those bubbles are surfaces. Those are the surfaces. And so to me, in my head, I'm going like, okay, so all the actives are migrating to the surface of those bubbles, and now they are directly in contact with where you're putting them. Right, versus dispersed throughout the liquid, right?
Yeah, true.
So you do that foam, you get those surfactants out to the edge of the bubble, and then you apply them to where you're at, and they're going right to where they need to be. Yeah. I don't know. I've never thought of that before, but it seems like it makes some sense to me.
Well, yeah, and it's it's a killer idea. So Brake Buster 5-to-1 in an IK sprayer, foam can, or whatever it may be, works really, really good. But same thing with Express 1-to-1. I feel like I get a little bit further. I get extend my Express a little bit further by diluting it 1-to-1, and that works pretty great. It's used distilled water on that.
Everything else is definitely ready to use.
Yep, everything else other than those two is ready to use. So, but Joseph, I mean, welcome, man. Thank you so much for chiming in and watching and commenting. Don't go to the dark side, whatever that means, but just keep hanging out with us. We'll take you to the promised land, I promise.
Yeah, I have to say that it's a fun industry. It's a fun project and activity, and it's having been it so long. It seems simple to me, but it's surprisingly complex.
Totally. It is. Yeah. Next up here, we've got Sheepstar. I've been playing with a product that has triphene in it. No SDS available, though. Is it the thing on the Facebook pages that I've seen? This is triphene, and it goes the whole thing.
We really don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I haven't tried the product. I've always said, look, if you like the product and it's working well for you, then kind of don't worry about the little catchphrases that are written on the label.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that a product that says it has one thing or another is a good or bad product. It may be a great product, and it may or may not be because of what they put on the label.
Yeah. Gotcha. Next up, we've got Jay's Car Channel. What the heck? $10. Thank you. Quick little clap here. Sydney clap. Sydney, no, thank you. I'd say Tristan clap, but I mean he's a teenager. He's not going to do that. So Jay's Car Channel says, shout out to Sydney and the Challenger. Is it Destroyer Gray or Smoke Show?
Oh, it's Smoke Show. Smoke
nice.
Show. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
We had a Destroyer Gray Charger, and then we went with a Smoke Show Challenger because they were so hard to get.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool car. Next up, thank you very much, Chase. Appreciate that. Jacob Lamb says, noticing orders usually takes 1 to 1.5 weeks to arrive. Just wondering what causes longer delivery time compared to other detailing brands. Jacob, we usually, most people are receiving their orders within about a week, unless they are, unless it's some type of outside circumstance, or unless you are very, very, very far away. If you may ask, where are you from? And I guess where you having these products shipped to?
Yeah.
Most packages we're getting people to them within a week, and really they are. They're shipping out most of our packages shipping out same day.
This is the busy season of the year.
But it's a busy season.
It is a busy season of the year.
It's not, but I'm saying that we're doing our best to get your packages out. Usually, unless it's a sale week, that would be the only time there would be a delay. Outside of that, we're pretty delay free. So at that point, it's really more so in the hands of the shipper rather than us. But for what it's worth, I've been ordering some stuff from websites, shipping from New Jersey, from the East Coast. It's still been taking about a week for them to get to me here in Idaho, just going through either UPS or even USPS in some cases. So it could just be shippers right now are a little bit behind, on their time frames. Next up.
Sorry about that. We're working hard.
Yep. AT4 says, I've been using Release like a crazy person. It works as described and smells awesome. Great.
Thank you again.
Thanks for using it, man.
Should we sell Tristan? He missed a spot.
Time to reorder Radiance, says Ryan over at Fine Detailing. I think you're right, Ryan.
Literally, Ryan, I'm not joking, on a car with Stout on it, it literally, it was so slick. I've never felt anything like it. That was wild. We're going to do it again on this one.
Sid, her mouth was watering. I actually saw her lick her lips as she was, wiping this thing, because she was salivating at the slickness of this vehicle. It was pretty crazy.
It was crazy. And literally, Carson was trying to be so kind and sneak through here with no one seeing him. And I literally was somebody has to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I agree. Megan wants to know, has Sydney convinced Carson of Natural Finishes virtues?
You know what? I need to bring him a bottle. I did get him a bottle, and I just haven't given it to him yet, but I guarantee you he is going to fall in love with it.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Gabe also loves it, but Gabe hasn't been sneaking 5 liters of those things or something like that? Not 5 liters, 5-gallon things of natural finish.
I think he does have a 5-gallon of it.
I think he does.
Yeah, I almost think Gabe might be a bigger fan than myself, to be honest.
I think Gabriel needs to start splitting the stock up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Helping our friend Carson out with a couple refills. If you've got a 5-gallon thing of natural finish, 32 ounces is nothing, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So next up here, we've got another question from Alkaline Trio. So the Challenger surface that feels like washing on ice is coated in Stout with using Radiance. Yes, that is correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Anthony, have you looked into steel case chairs? They've been fantastic for my back. I have no idea what that is. No, I haven't.
No.
For the most part, my back's okay in most chairs. It's been getting better and better too. So I haven't been super picky about it. But I'll check that out, right? Usually the chairs we use in the studio, again, we're sitting in Viper chairs usually. These are Dane's mid-century modern chair that we stole from his house that we haven't given back yet. I don't even know what these are. But I've been getting better with chairs. But I'll look into those, Dan. You have me intrigued. Very intrigued. Blue Line says, which product would you say is more of a drying aid that won't cause towels to not absorb and streak? Dream Maker or Paint Gloss? Sometimes I use Bead Maker, but I know what it does to towels. So between the two, what would be more ideal for towel?
Paint Gloss.
Paint Gloss.
Paint Gloss. I think because Dream Maker has more ingredients in it that are going to, seriously. Certainly you use Dream Maker with a microfiber towel anyway. Yeah. But it has more ingredients that actually kind of work on the paint, and I think that takes away from its drying aid, ability, because it just has more surface active materials in it. So paint gloss is going to migrate to the paint. It's going to cause beading. It's not going to clog your towels.
Yeah.
It's going to actually it's actually going to partly improve the water, the way the water can be brought into the towel, the wetting agent in the towel. So it'll be great.
Very cool. Sydney, how's Tristan liking the wash bay over there?
He thinks that's pretty cool. The Mosmatic boom and the holder for the gun, Because,
Pretty
you know,
nice.
my kids, they just lay it in the towel bin. That's their gun holder.
Oh, yeah.
He says that's where it goes. It's not where it goes. So he's liking that everything has its place.
Yeah, a little bit next level here, Tristan.
Yeah, so
you know.
he's just getting ready to do the Radiance contact wash. So we're going to see how he feels about that.
Okay,
So-
sweet.
Do it, and then we're going to get your actual reaction to this.
Okay. You bring that mic close to that little boy. I mean, sorry, not little boy. He's a big boy now, but I mean,
yeah,
you know.
what?
Yeah, he's towering
Careful.
over you.
He can't hear what you guys are saying. It's actually probably good.
Yeah, probably good. I
what do
don't
you
want to embarrass him.
Isn't it slick?
So his is coated in Stout too?
His is actually in Legend, but I would
Legend,
expect
okay.
it kind of feeling the same. Maybe not quite as slick, but I mean,
Yeah.
just Radiance after Frostbite. I think it was Joey that came up with that. And honestly, like if you want like the super luxurious wash, it really like it feels like washing on ice, right? And so I think Joey Belinsky came up with that. So you do the Frostbite wash.
Thank you,
and
Joey.
then- yeah, Joey did. And then so you do the Frostbite wash and then do Radiance foamed and Radiance in your bucket. And it is so slick, it's crazy. And you literally don't need a drying aid because it's just ridiculously smooth and slick. And yeah, it's crazy.
I imagine
cool.
the water would run off really well.
Yeah, highly
I mean, one of
recommended.
the things about Radiance, and this is the thing that Bob always liked, was, you know, he goes, it's like a water show,
Yeah, yeah. And it's just so nice.
especially
it's,
on a coated car.
It's just like a treatment, right? I mean, it's like a special wash. It's a special day wash. Tristan said this smells like grape crush.
Mm-hmm. It smells
Best
really good.
part, right, Anthony?
It is.
The smell,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do like the smell of that one. It's very
Yeah,
good.
It's amazing.
Quick question here. So S Pro Detailing says, who's the official distributor for P&S Rag Company in the UK? I think Clean and Shiny technically is one of our brand partners over there, and a brand partner for P&S. So cleanandshiny.co.uk, I think is the website. .uk, .co.uk, yeah, something like that. John Hull, cleanandshiny.com. I think that's what it is. So no, it's not cleanandshiny.com. It's got to be cleanandshiny.co.uk. It has to be. It's been a long week. It's Thursday. It's the end of the week. Looking forward to a good weekend. Maybe some good food later. Cav says, great show, guys. I love Absolute, but I heard from another YouTube detailer that you were working on a new version. Is this true?
Well, it is true, but we haven't gotten to where we want. So it is true. We have some ideas of what we would like to do. But I will say that my first ideas were a failure.
What?
So
No.
let's just say that that, you know, hey, it doesn't always work out like you plan. And so I had some, you know, chemistry ideas and some thoughts on what I thought might work, and it just didn't. So I'm, as is kind of typical for this process, I kind of have to keep my eyes open, look at new things with this in the back of my head, and just kind of keep going like, oh, well, maybe this will fit the bill. Mm-hmm. And talk to vendors and all that sort of stuff. But my original idea, unfortunately, just didn't work.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think that the current version is still great.
Well, that's one of the problems.
Yes. So
If you call that a problem.
Yeah, I think it is absolutely great. But yeah, I you know, if there's any improvements to be made, then you're definitely the person to do it. So moving on here. Next up, we've got Rag Company says, always love how real Dave is. He's very real. He is real. He is in person here. There's no doubting that. Smash that like button. Yes, we agree. And then we need more podcasts with Anthony and other people. Would be awesome. Sydney. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Did they mean me?
I don't know. I don't
I
really know
thought
what that.
you'd been on this.
Detailing vibes. That was really nice. If you, I don't, but I don't know where the end was. That was. So yeah, Ryan Rigdon. My rag triches always ends up with coagulating on the bottom of the jug that refuses to dissolve back in a liquid, no matter how long you shake it. Does Dave have any advice?
Well, if you can disperse it a little bit, it will dissolve in the wash solution.
Okay.
So you're not going to have these chunks sitting around. They break down, and it's just one of the. We keep this as concentrated as we possibly can. I mean, that's what, that's the deal. And so it's like right at the edge, you get kind of temperature changes going up and down. It doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't have to be like really hot or really cold, but you get these slight changes, and you do get some of the ingredients kind of like clumping together. But it will dissolve. It always does. It's generally speaking not very much, but you can still use it.
Yep. Okay. Moving on here, we got button smashed from Pop Pop's Detail Shop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pop Pop's Detail. I like that name. That's a fun name to say. Rod A says, "What's the best drying towel to dry a black midsize SUV? Had a few towels that after a panel or two were very streaky. Dude, I'd give that new M22 a shot, Rod. I think you're gonna have a great time with that M22 drying towel. Trust me, it's gonna be a good time." Next up, Megan Benson, do you guys ever use blowers to get water? Yes.
You betcha.
All the time. That's just good practice.
Yeah. It's a great way to get your car started drying.
Yep. True. Yep. We're a towel company. We still use blowers.
At the end, it's kind of annoying because you've dried it and then you're blowing out the cracks.
Yeah.
And then you get more water.
Yep.
But this is just life.
Brian Elson says, "What causes tackiness on a coating after washing with a higher pH soap?"
I'm not familiar with that. Sydney, are you familiar with that at all?
What causes the tackiness? I would just assume that it temporarily kind of shocks the coating, as we call it. So it'll make it just a little bit tacky. But what I have found is that usually after a couple hours, that tackiness goes away. I think it's just kind of that initial shock to it. But you could also, after you use the higher pH soap, which is what we just did here, right? You could, if you're using a higher pH soap, you can go back over with your contact wash with something that has a little bit of rejuvenator in it, which is exactly why we did this today. I wanted to really clean the coating, but then kind of put back those coating-like properties. So I would maybe, use a rinse aid or a drying aid that's going to help it recover from that initial shock. But even just left on its own, the coating will come back to normal after, a little bit.
Nice. Okay.
Thank you.
Dane is going to get mad about being off topic. No, he won't. No.
I've never seen Dane mad.
Dane says he actually loves going off topic just on his own time. It's just tough when people get mad at watching a detailing stream and leave. I don't think they leave, Dane.
Did we go off topic?
We go off topic quite often.
Okay.
It's a really good time. It actually makes this very fun. But, we'll see. We went a little off topic with the hiking earlier, but, that was a fun thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Vegan leather is a fake leather. It's plastic. Any cleaner would work. No need for a real leather cleaner. Hans, you're onto something there for sure. Moving on. Next question. We've got Super Math 101. Besides fluorescent optical brighteners, what other ingredients should you avoid when purchasing laundry detergent from Microfiber?
So, I guess it's a question of why you would worry about the optical brighteners. Are you familiar with that?
I am not.
Yeah, I mean, I know what they are. I certainly know what they are. A little historical context in the history of laundry was, as you washed your clothes in history, they would start to turn brown. And so what they figured out was they go, well, hey, if we put a little blue in the water, in the soap, then they'll just turn gray. And gray was better. And they said, well, gray's not good enough. What if we put an optical brightener in there? And what optical brighteners do is they pull UV light out of the lights around you, either the sun or fluorescent lights, and then they glow blue. So instead of your clothes turning gray or brown over time, they stay bright. They stay like they have the original color. And this is why when you walk into like in Halloween, you walk into a black light, all your clothes glow because you've got optical brighteners in them. So they put a little layer of this optical brightener on it. Obviously, that's going to leave a little bit of something in the towel.
Yeah.
I am not sure it's a degradation to the towel.
You've answered my question why my clothes glow during Halloween. I've always wondered that. Now I have that answered.
But I mean, typically, you guys definitely want less in the towel when
Correct.
you rinse it and
is
wash
there
it.
optical brighteners in rags to riches?
No.
Okay, then there's nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, no. But I'm just wondering hypothetically why it would necessarily be a problem. You know, you want a nice clean towel.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want anything to be in the towel, left in the towel.
Yep, true. Next up here, we've got Juice Free says, Supermath, a high pH will leave the towel rough. That's why many like to neutralize with vinegar. And then, or use a dedicated microfiber wash. Okay. Next up, we've got Supermath says, true, but from my understanding, dedicated microfiber detergents are overkill if you're only using rinseless APC. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I think you are wrong. And the reason is because the amount of surface area on a microfiber towel is so huge. They attract everything, right? And so they're going to attract, even the surfactants are going to be, more likely to be stuck in that towel than they would be, than a regular terry cloth or something that didn't have all that surface. When you look at you guys have always done the micro photos of the towel. I mean, they're like each fiber is like 8 fibers. So I mean, that's your logo, right?
Yeah, correct.
And so you've got so much surface area in there. When you start getting that much surface area, you're dealing with forces that aren't typically, what you think of. You're talking van der Waals, you're talking about molecular forces, electrostatic forces, all sorts of things are happening in that towel that make it harder to clean.
Mm-hmm. Yep, agreed. Very true. So that's a good point there, Dave. Next up here, we've got Megan Benson says, Dave, what product took the longest to develop and why?
Well, let's see. Well, it took a long time to do Defender.
Yeah.
It did. I mean, everybody was asking for, Bead Maker 2. That took a long time. Absolute took quite some time.
Absolute took a while. Yeah.
Absolute took a while. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean,
you were onto it pretty fast, but it took a while. It took a hot minute.
It did. Polishes in general are quite a balancing act, right? Yeah. Between the abrasiveness, the dustiness, the oil residue, the working time. I mean, they're pretty complex mixtures. So some of the and what I've found is that the hard paint compounds are, very difficult because you don't want them to. You can get a great compound. It works on 90% of the cars, and then somebody walks up with something that's really hard, and it's not doing anything anymore.
Yeah.
So that is a challenge.
Yeah. Okay. See that for sure. All right. Next up here, we've got let's see. From did
we run out?
Nope. DS. Which dressing is full send most similar to in the regular P&S line? Dynamic? Question mark.
Well, no. Full send is so because in the off-road line we're dealing with tires that may or may not be very clean. We might have dirt on them. We might have drier tires. Full send is basically kind of a dressing on steroids. A lot of people might like that idea. You can use that on a regular car, but it just had to have more gloss.
Yeah.
And so when you do the more gloss thing, to me it gets too glossy in some circumstances, but because the tires are can be so dry that the gloss tends to dry back to what would seem like a normal gloss.
True.
Right?
Yep.
So, it really is different than most of the other products. I mean, and usually there's something different about every single one of our dressings, even though we have too many of them.
Yeah.
So there's nuances to each one.
Totally. Beautiful Scat, love the color. We have a Tri-Coat Pearl Hellcat that lives in our shop. Really appreciate the live Q&A. That's from Pop's Detail Shop. I like saying that. Say that 10 times fast. Pop's Detailing Shop. Stealth GR4 says, is there going to be a new formulation of Inspiration View that has the same benefits as Stout, shorter cure time, and same durability coming out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, there will be.
Next up, Steve Pearson. I've been quietly listening. Dave's
Steve.
insight into detailing products is always fascinating to listen to. Hope you're all well. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Rod A says, I either use rags to riches, detail coat microfiber wash, or Tide free and clear after every use. Most of the time I drying a car was rinseless washed. Yeah. Cool. Joey Belinsky. Wow.
Hello, Joey.
Having the day off work made me almost miss my friends on Q&A. Hey guys, I'm using Absolute in my keg to do a final rinse on a bucket wash to help with water spotting. Works perfectly.
You bet. And Windows. Love it on Windows. I do my house.
Yeah.
I do my house with Absolute.
Absolutely. That's the best. I mean, yeah, absolutely. What product would you recommend for interior quick clean for leather and plastics?
Express Interior. Yes.
Pretty quick.
Time.
Pretty quick, pretty clean. Steve Pearson. When it comes to creating new products, do you ever look into non-detailing industries for inspiration?
I have over the years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely have. And I've looked at, I've looked at both for inspiration, but many times for ingredients too.
Oh, that's a good point. Very good point.
Right. Yeah. So, the paint and coatings industry, the soap and cosmetics industry, a lot of times they have ingredients that are unique. And incorporating them into the industrial space is really good.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. They got the good stuff over there in the makeup industry,
well, I
right?
mean, it was interesting because, there's been a lot of money and in paint and coatings, there's been a lot of money in soap and cosmetics. So there's been a lot of reason to spend money on R&D.
Yeah.
So they're very creative, and if I could take advantage of that, the laundry industry obviously has helped with some of our products.
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure. Let's see. Quick afternoon yawn. Sorry, it's already Eve after all. Hydra Detailing says, I noticed Belgium humidity and hot weather feels so dry compared to other tropical countries, which probably has to do with it. Inside my garage, I absolutely love it. See what I did there? Yes, we see what you did there.
Do we?
I don't know.
I don't think I do.
I don't think we do. Demo says, y'all have a great week. Always good to see P&S and the crew in the studio. Thank you, Demo.
We are glad to be here. And we want to thank the Rag Company for, inviting us too.
Yes.
For sure.
Yep. And then Joey Belinsky says, get out of town. Is that Tristan? Yes, that is Tristan over there. Laying down the law with the M22.
Did you see Sydney doing windows?
Yeah. AT4 says, is that a Jeep jumping brother? No way. Moving on. We've got the occasional detailer. How do y'all deal with seemingly plant debris that is small and gets sharp, stuck?
It's the bane.
That gets stuck in microfiber towels even post-wash. Is there any alternative aside from moving them one at a time by hand? Man, yeah, that's horrible. That's like the worst.
Yeah, I was hoping you had something.
Lint roller, it's pretty killer. Removing a lot of like excess stuff. If you just want to use a lint roller to try to like pile, get as much crap off the towel as you can.
Brush like a vacuum with a roller brush.
You could probably vacuum it. That kind of debris
but they kind
and
of
build up.
Pull up in it.
Sometimes just best just to kind of sit there, zen out, put on a show, hold a towel, and just kind of pick at it while you're removing stuff. At a certain point, if so much debris is caught in one of my towels, I am either demoting it or I'm letting it go. I am sending it off. I look at, I used to be that way with every single little towel I had, right? I'd be like, oh, this has this in it, or this in it, or this has a fingernail caught in it, whatever the heck it could have been. I would have been like really, really meticulous. Now, if I see more than a handful of spots of contamination or something that I really feel like I don't trust going back on my car's paint, I usually just demote it and use it for something else for a few times. Heck, even some towels, become oil pickup towels or, cabinet wipe down towels. Whatever I do I feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Megan Benson says, Tristan, you're a great sport.
Tristan, you're getting a shout out.
They said, Tristan, you are a great sport.
Oh, thank you.
Then David says, also, did I miss a Father's Day sale this year? There was a very short Father's Day sale, David. It came and it went. Dang, I want one of those Fat Joe tubs. I know you do, Hans. I do know. Listen, this is not a what's it called, a wipe down cloth for yourself for personal use. So they're non-flushable. Recommend only for detailing, nothing else. Again, if you get that Fat Joe tattoo, things can work out pretty well for you. Johnny Shield Detailing saying howdy, what's going on?
I hate to say this, but we could print some labels.
Yeah.
We could print some labels, and those would be a lot easier to get to the UK.
I think they would. So he's over in Netherlands.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Netherlands,
yeah,
right.
Netherlands, yeah. Hydra Detailing.
Europe, we'll just say Europe.
Says, I want a bucket too. Send +1 to Hans. So listen, Sydney might make some dreams come true here after a little bit. DS says, Comic Sans on the Fat Joe wipe labels. Haha. Yeah. It was Comic Sans on those labels, yes. Still, he says, I use Solvent X on heavy asphalt. Worked great. When it comes across when I come across thick concrete, I had no clue what to do.
Yeah. So thick concrete is a little bit different than light concrete, but typically, and I never recommend this to anybody, but concrete's a nasty thing. It's like an acid wash is usually the thing you have to do.
Yeah.
And when people ask me about acid wash, I say don't use it. So, but if you're really desperate, then that's pretty much what you've got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Levi says muriatic acid is what he used.
I mean, and if you've got, the wheel acids, that sort of stuff.
But also be suitable.
Muriatic's usually, available at a hardware store. It's nasty.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
Yeah. Taylor says, is there a tire sealant in the future? I'd like to see a long-lasting tire shine that I can last for many months, like Carpo Blackout or ADS Ghost. Product request, Taylor. We'll put that in. Put that in.
Yeah, it's a constant request.
Yep. Our friends over at Armor Detail Supply saying hello, guys. What's going on? Welcome to the party. And then S Pro says hello from UK. Yep, a lot of people saying hello. Dane, what do we got? We got 9 minutes left. So Ryan Reagan says, Anthony, you always insisted on Breakbuster being foamed at 10-1. 10-1. You could do 10-1. You could do 7-1. You could do 5-1. What I didn't want is so previously. Do you remember when Breakbuster in the original days?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how the viscosity was quite a bit thicker?
Yes.
Do you remember it was pretty jelly, right?
Yeah, and we made it thinner.
We made it thinner, right?
Yes, it foams better when it's thinner.
But back when people were taking that and they were putting that viscosity of Breakbuster 5-1 in those IK sprayers, right? It was clogging the sprayers, right?
Oh, okay.
Because it was too thick. It was getting caught in the pickup tube. It was causing an issue. So that was when I told people, I said, hey, 7-1, 10-1, that's what you're going to be able to do just to dilute it enough to be able to where it's not getting clogged. Since then, that was a few years ago, Breakbuster was reformulated to be quite a bit thinner, right? Since changing that to a thinner formulation, 5-1 is now possible with no issues at all. You could still do 7-1, you could still do 10-1, it just won't be as effective. But yeah, that was back in the day. Use it however you want to do it now. I don't care anymore. I'm not gonna gatekeep the what's it called, the dilutions on it. Megan Benson says, now I know attending a live is like a trip to Target. I go in for one thing and walk out buying a bunch of P&S products. So, Megan, Target gets you. Target gets all of us. Yeah, I went to Target the other day. I went for like 2 things and was walking by and I go,
take some of that too.
Pick some of that.
I didn't know they had this.
As bad as my wife. It's not good. Hydra Detailing says, is paint gloss still being improved? I totally love it and would love a new version. We're
a little superstitious about paint gloss. We do use a very particular ingredient in it. We pretty much refuse to change it, no matter what the price is. Mm-hmm. So we're a little on the superstitious side, I would say. We don't want to risk. I mean, our products get used in so many different places. Yeah. They shock us, and then somebody calls up and goes, "It doesn't work for this anymore." And it's like, well, we improved the gloss. They go, "Yeah, but it doesn't work for whatever they're doing." So we're probably going to keep it the same.
Gotcha. Okay. Next up here, AT4 2025 will not be complete until we get a natural finish in TRC and a TRC foam cannon. Okay, all right. A natural finish. Okay, natural finish and a foam cannon. Tan Hang says, can I use O&R V6 directly with a dirty car without cleaning it first? And after that, can I use Optimum Hyper Shine ceramic coating? You can. Yeah, you can clean a car. I mean, with O&R V6, do that 100%. What I would do, watch the segment from TRCMA with me and Dr. G. Company pay up something. Next question. Company pay up. Hello from Mexico. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hola.
Next up, we've got CJ. Hello, Dave. I've asked this question before, but would like to hear from a chemist. When mixing chems, I've always diluted with store-bought. Is there a difference between DI and distilled?
There is, but it's a technical difference. DI water, typically they'll run it through an ion exchange. A lot of times they'll do 3 ion exchange. They'll do a cationic, an anionic, and then they'll do a mixed bed, and they'll run it through a carbon filter. So you've gotten rid of basically everything in the water. With distilled water, technically your organics can distill over with the distillation process. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure with distilled water, they probably run it through a carbon filter as well. So therefore, the difference wouldn't be anything that would be real. But if you did your own homemade distilled water and you didn't run it through a carbon filter, then yeah, you could have organics left in the mix.
Gotcha. Okay. Next up, we've got David Miller says, I have DIY detail ceramic coating on my car. Seems most detailed channels recommend a drying aid, but I noticed Sydney did not use one of the Challenger. Should I not use a drying aid? David, you can do whatever the heck you want to do, man. But Sydney chose not to do it because she used Radiance as her car wash soap, and the car simply did not need a drying aid. It just dried smoothly, right?
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
The water with Radiance, the water really runs off a lot.
Yeah,
and you'd spray that drying aid on there. Ordinarily, you've washed your car, you get kind of a not a whole lot of beading. You put a drying aid on it, shoop, it all beads up instantly.
Yep.
But that can't happen with Radiance. It's going to bead up from the start.
Yep, agreed. Michael DeBlau says, I'm going to try paint gloss. Indeed, do it, Michael. Get a whole gallon. That's probably the best way to do it. Hi from Belgium. I would like to buy Release Vacuum Aid, but it doesn't seem to be available anywhere in Europe. Not yet. It will be available soon enough. I believe TRC Europe will eventually have that product. Walter Malden says, just begin using Bead Maker. I love it. Would you say it's once a month is optimal?
Yeah, that's
Totally.
fine. A lot of times I'll just do a light mist and I'll use it kind of as a drying aid. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if that's the kosher thing to do, but that's what I do.
Yeah. Just begin using Bead Maker. I love it. After doing my engine bay cleaning, I noticed my block getting white oxidation. Is there any products I can use to remove it or prevent it from getting worse?
Natural finish.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Yeah, you sprayed natural finish on that. Is Frostbite strong enough to strip waxes or old sealants?
So Frostbite is a basically surface attacking sort of cleaner. Strip waxes, that's kind of a bold statement. I don't think it should not do sealants at all. In order to get sealants, you really have to pull out something like a GP cleaner or something that's going to be pretty aggressive on the surface.
Mm-hmm. Right. Ricky Valencia says, how about rags to riches in pod form? Won't have to worry about coagulation of the product. I
think that machine would be a wonderful investment, boy.
Yeah.
But I think it's a Procter & Gamble level thing.
Yeah, it might be. Next up here, we've got Gregory Howard. Sorry if you answered this, but just got home. A lot of drama going on. I'm glad you were you're taking the high moral ground, but is 3M now making P&S?
Maybe
3D. Yeah.
Probably 3D. Well,
3D
we're
is
the
what you
same
mean.
company now.
Yeah.
So we're part of a company called ATG, Appearance Technology Group, and basically all the companies, we're going to keep each company's name available, but we're all under this Appearance Technology Group thing. We work together now.
Yeah, and it'd be 3D.
Yeah, it'd be hard to say that 3D is doing it because I'm going down there helping Bob's going down there helping. We're all working together on this thing. So it's not that 3D is now making
there's
our
no one
product.
company taking over anything.
Where they're going with that. And I think, Dave, they're kind of leading towards is 3D, are we using 3D formulations? And so I think it's just important to say, take the opportunity to say no. Like
Right.
3D's formulations are 3D's, P&S's are P&S. Even though it's being made in their facility, it's still 100% P&S products.
Well, because
they're
the
not
chemists were
intermixing.
before this merge, the chemists were different.
Yes.
Yes.
Dave was not doing anything for 3D and
Right.
never did, and
Yeah.
so Dave simply brought his property, his chemistry over
Yeah.
to this mix. But I mean, there's never been any other making of products. I mean, the
Yes.
P&S line has been untouched.
I think we can say, confidently that P&S's formulas are valuable to 3D, and 3D's formulas are valuable to P&S. The two of them are different.
There you go.
And we're keeping them that way.
Yeah.
Here we go. Last question. How long does corrosion inhibitors and mudbuster and breakbuster last on the surface?
So they're flash corrosion inhibitors, right? So they're just avoiding that while it dries, you're going to have a little residual effect, but once that thing gets wet again, there's salts. Now, careful of the salts term. This is a chemistry term, which means there's a positive and a negative ion. This is not salt, like you're used to it. But they are salts that sit on the surface and basically accept electrons where instead of the iron or instead of the aluminum or whatever. So it stops the corrosion from happening, but it is very transient.
Gotcha. Okay. So it happens. I mean, it's quick, but I mean, that is something that would happen, whether it's a wash or I don't know, and all sorts of different reasons a car would get wet, but it's a quickly working thing.
Right.
Quickly working, quickly ending. Ryan Reading says, thanks for the explanation, Anthony. Thank you guys very much. And that is going to be wrapping up our Q&A Thursday here during P&S Brand Week. A huge shout out to Sydney in the back here for knocking out a couple awesome details. Tristan for putting in some work as well. And then, of course, for having Dave out. But not just Dave, we had Bob out earlier, so a special thanks out to him as well. And the entire P&S team for making this happen, including Keith, who was here also briefly for a little bit. And so it's been awesome having everyone out and being able to talk shop, hang out, talk new products, bring them on here to answer your detailing questions. Again, check out theradcompany.com for our P&S Brand Week happening right now, where we have select kits with a special gift, meaning that you're going to get that Fat Joe, which is super cool. But these kits are at a discounted rate, meaning that you're going to buy into them. They come out at a pretty heavy discount, and you are getting a free gift on top of that. So it really is just a killer deal. So that is going to be it for us. Make sure to check out P&S on all of their different channels as well, and on social media. And I guess until next time. So Dave, thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Until next week, we will see you then. Stay safe. Happy weekend. And this is us from the Rad Company saying see ya.
All right. Take care.